Hi, I'm Kris of Krissy's Over the Mountain Crochet.com. Today I'll show you how to make a big and spicy pumpkin, and there are videos to show you how to make that leather stem and how to embellish with doilies. I used Red Heart Ombre hot sauce yarn. Let's get started. So let's get started showing you the basics of this hot, big and spicy pumpkin. All right, so you chain 3 or chain 3, join in a ring, 7 single crochets in that ring, or chain 2, 7 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Then the next row would have 2 stitches in each stitch around, so that makes 14 stitches. And then you just continue to increase as the pattern states. You can see the spiral, and there are 18 rows of increases. And this, I put a marker, this is where I stopped increasing. Now I'm going to want to execute the rest of this pumpkin in the round. And executing this pumpkin in the round is fairly easy. I would like to show you how to do that. I can't keep my marker here and then I stop joining. I just continue around and around until I have the height that I want. I think I want this height to be approximately 3.5 inches. You could go up to 4 or 5 inches if you would like, but that's totally up to you. You can just keep going, keep going, keep going. When I get to the point that I want to start decreasing my pumpkin, I just start decreasing, just right above the bobby pin, right above my marker. My little plastic markers break constantly, but you can see the spiral in the decrease. So you can see where I have decreased. The last row of increases, I increased and for 18 rows, and on that 18th row there were 16 stitches between each increase. So it was an increase, 16 stitches, and an increase. So when I start my decrease round, I start it close to where my bobby pin is, and I just execute a decrease. Then I crocheted 16 stitches across, executed a decrease, and did that around. And I put a marker. Actually, I did put a marker that first decrease so I could keep track of when it was time to eliminate a stitch for the next row, for the next spiral. Or you can just, if you have good eyes and you can see where the next decrease is, you just start decreasing on top of each decrease. So the crochet pattern is written in a simple manner. I feel like decreasing in the round is a little bit harder, so that's why I made this in the round and then have made the tutorial so that I could explain in the round. The crochet pattern written on my pattern is free, but it is not written in the round. It is written with the joints. I think that is simpler and it's easier for a beginner. So if you're ready to stretch your wings a little and you want to crochet and decrease in the round, watch how I do that. But first, let me stuff the pumpkin. Okay, that's good for right now. I want to have a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of pushing room so I can finish and decreasing around the pumpkin. So here we go. Right here is a decrease. So I will decrease right here. Single crochet 2 together. And then I will single crochet around until I hit another decrease. This yarn is easy to see the decrease. If you have a yarn that you can't see the decreases very well, and right here I'm at a decrease already, just go ahead and put markers there. All right, it's getting smaller. I want to push my yarn together so that I make sure that I don't have large gaps so that the yarn doesn't leave me big loops. I don't want it to be big loops. So I'm going to shove it together and make sure that the loops are small. Okay, so the hole is much smaller, but it doesn't have as much stuffing as I would like. The sides are kind of meh. I need to fill out those sides a little bit. All right, so I wanted to pop back in and say I'm pretty happy with how I have it stuffed. The sides are firm, and there's like a little bit of give at the decreases and the increases, so that when I pull the yarn around, it's going to dent in very nicely for me. I made sure I have a hole in the center. I'm going to actually put more stuffing right in there, but I've made a hole in the center. Okay, so I'm at the point where I have no more individual single crochets. It's all decrease from here on out. I push the pumpkin together and I execute a decrease. I hope you can see this. This is a little bit of work to do, and then trying to get it to show on the camera. Just shove it together. Moving on. Oh, the hole is getting so much smaller. Let me see if I can lay it down one time and show you. Let me see if I can. Okay, here we go. Push it together. And then grab it and then decrease it. Now, single crochet 2 together. There we go. Okay, so I have decreased to the point that I have just the tiniest little hole. I'm going to move across and just slip stitch. I'm going to go across again, grab that, and slip stitch. And that has fairly well closed my hole. At this point, we need to cinch off or finish off that by pulling the yarn tail through that loop and letting it cinch down. Now, if I were using just one strand, I would leave about a 6-yard strand and then just use that at the top to wrap around the pumpkin, but I won't be doing that with this pumpkin. I'm going to finish off that center, and I'm going to use a long needle. I got this package of needles at Walmart. It's upholstery needles. I tried using that very long needle. It was too bulky. I ended up using the smallest needle. What I ended up doing was using a strand of yarn that was about 12 feet long. I fed it through my needle and then tied a knot. So I have a double strand of yarn. I'm going to start at the very top and poke right through the center and then come out the bottom. I'm sorry you can't see that, but somewhere in the bottom. It has to just come out the bottom. So I'm pulling that long double strand, but there is that knot. So I take that knot. This is just for the first pull through. I take that knot and I open up the yarn and go between those two pieces of yarn above the knot. Yeah, that's a pretty long strand. And then I can pull and cinch down. And that cinches down so nice. And there I've made my first dent. Now I made that dent going along the line of the decreases and the increases. Okay, so I'm ready now to make my second dent. I will follow that line. I'm trying not to twist my strands. I want my strands to look even. I think I got a twist in there. But pull it down and come back up to the top, and we will put the needle back down through the center. I'm trying to hold that taut with my left hand while I put the needle through to the center, and it comes out at the bottom. Sometimes you have to work to make sure it comes out at the center. It's not that hard, really. Just kind of finagle a little bit, and then there it comes. There it is, and you can pull. I had to let go of my tautness, and that's okay. You'll see that it will be okay in just a minute. All right, So where I have that cinched down on the first strand, I'm able to pull. Look how nice that is. Oh, and I've got a twist there, and it's irritating me. But in order to keep this, this from loosening up, I'm going to cinch it down again. I go underneath those two strands, and once I get the dent the way I want it, and then I can pull, and that just stays right there. All right, let's move on to the next one. You might have to, if you've got wrinkles in your pumpkin, you might want to rearrange those a little bit. I'll fix those later. Okay, so I will follow that spiral line to make my next dent, and then just keep going. Just keep making dents, putting the needle through to the center, pulling it out the back. The more times you put that needle through to the center, the easier it is to come out the center at the bottom. It just starts making its own way and makes it easier. And there you see the yarn is a little bit loose, but I can just pull it. Yep. And then use one of those strands, use one of those extra bits of yarn, and yeah, there, just stick the yarn needle underneath there. You're just making a cinch area. You're just cinching it down. There we go. And that just holds it in place. That is so much easier to do that way. That way your dent lines, or the yarn dent lines, will not get loose. So let's speed up the camera. I don't want to bore you. Here we go. It's kind of fun to watch this in full. Remember, each time you go through, go underneath and make a little bit of a cinch knot. Let's tighten that down. There's, oh, it's starting to look like a pumpkin now. There we go. So much easier to get that through after you've been through a few times. Looks good. The front is where it's supposed to be. Now I can cinch it down. Yep, I like that. Okay, let's keep going. Keeping the yarn straight, even, and nice. There we go. One more. Okay, so I'm making the last dent. 7 dents, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which makes sense since we had 7 single crochets to start with. So I'm going to pull this in. It's looking so nice. It's looking like a pumpkin. Down through the center for the last time. I'm going to kind of hold this tight. Whoops, see, it got loose on me. I do want the threads to be straight, and push it through while I'm holding it tight. There we go. Okay, so this is the last one. Let's make sure it's where we want it to be and it's taut. And let's keep working. Let's get it so we're happy with it. Work it underneath those threads so we can cinch it down. This is the last one. We don't want it to be loose. Hold on to it there, get it so that it, yeah, there we go. Work it in there. All right, now I'm happy. Yep, I'm happy. Now nice looking pumpkin. There we go. Okay, we have to take care of the thread tails in the back. So here's what we do. Just check everything again, make sure they're tight, and we're just going to tie a simple knot. Just a real simple knot. Cinch it down. Then we take the needle and we use it to work the thread tails into the center of the pumpkin. There we go. Pretty easy. You guys are pretty familiar with how to do that. All right. Now we have a lovely, lovely little pumpkin with a cute little center. Hey, if you'd like to know how to embellish this with a doily and a brooch, I have a video for that. Aren't they pretty with doilies and brooches in the center? And then if you'd like to make a leather stem, I have a video for that too. It was good to have you on my side of the mountain. Come again.